program called Peer Intervention in New York City, and Claire Cohen and Alfred Wiss will explain that program to us. And you are Claire Cohen.
Correct. Good afternoon. Welcome to my class. Please clear your desks as best you can. It seems you've all done your homework. Let's find out. Today we're having a surprise quiz. There will be 3 true-false questions. I will need all of your participation. After each question, please indicate thumbs up if you think the answer is true. Thumbs down will show you think it's false. Are there any questions? Good. Don't look at anyone else's thumb, please. All eyes on me. Question number 1. Great teachers are born. Either they have it or they don't. Item number 2. Supervisors and administrators are responsible for ensuring good teaching. A union should protect its members' jobs at all costs. Item number 3. Teaching in New York City is unlike teaching anywhere else. Undecided. Well, I saw some thumbs up responses. 6 years ago, many of my colleagues answered the same way. This is like a school. 6 years of intense research and experience has changed our minds. So, since the most important purpose of a test is learning from it, let's go back to the items on our quiz. Item number 1, effective teachers are born. Effective teachers develop over time. The tenured teachers helped by the New York City Peer Intervention Program may not have had suitable pre- or in-service training. Their knowledge base may be inadequate for today, and they often have difficulty controlling their classes. Some are completely alienated from their colleagues, and many have been rated unsatisfactory. The Peer Intervention Program, through a range of in-class strategies, including modeling and peer coaching, seeks to restore the teacher's confidence, encourage professional risk-taking, and strengthen student performance. Last year, nearly 6 out of 10 of our previously U-rated teachers received satisfactory ratings, and more than 9 out of 10 of those who had been formally warned about their performance received unconditional satisfactories. As one principal wrote to us, the teacher has grown in her ability to think through lessons, to focus and organize herself more clearly, and to execute lessons in a more effective manner. But the effects of intervention are far-reaching. One participating teacher virtually owes her life to the intervener who brought her into detox, and others have been guided to new careers by our Alternative Careers Liaison. Item number 2, supervisors are responsible for ensuring good teaching. A union should protect its members' jobs. The New York City Board of Education has set a precedent by recognizing that supervisors sometimes have neither the time nor the resources to provide effective assistance to teachers. In collaboration with the United Federation of Teachers, the board has created a unique, confidential, voluntary, non-judgmental system to promote teacher growth that ultimately improves classroom instruction and student outcomes. The UFT has also set precedents. By supporting the peer intervention program, the union accepts responsibility for high-quality instruction. The union also supports our efforts to encourage those teachers who cannot meet high standards to seek alternative careers. Item number 3, teaching in New York City is unlike teaching anywhere else. Difficulties encountered by teachers everywhere are strikingly similar. Educators expressing interest in the peer intervention program have come from such diverse locales as Indianapolis, Kenai Peninsula, Alaska, and Wausau, Wisconsin. They were concerned about teachers unable to manage disruptive or even violent behavior, meet curriculum standards, address poor student performance, high dropout rates, students with limited English proficiency, and teacher burnout. Districts nationwide recognize the peer interventions program's experience in helping teachers in all these areas, and replication can help any jurisdiction save money. Estimates for our last 5 years indicate that it costs 100% more to proceed against a tenured teacher than to provide constructive assistance through the peer intervention program. The best reason for replicating this program is that an educational community can capitalize on the value of its human resources. Recently, the Congress and the President have challenged us by adopting the Goals 2000 legislation. The nation's teaching force, states one of the goals, will have access to programs for the continued improvement of their professional skills. 2 months ago, on May 16th, President Clinton said, "This is the beginning. Today we can say America is serious about education, and America cares about the future of every child. And America will lead the world in the 21st century." We began 6 years ago.
Max, first question. Helen?
The mentor program indicates that the teachers volunteer.
Correct.
What if I'm not an appropriate volunteer? How can you tell me that I can't do this?
Our studies in adult learning and adult development have taught us
Would you move
that
over to the mic there?
our studies in adult development and adult learning have taught us that unless somebody wants to change and indicates a change by coming forward to do so, it is very difficult to make them do so. Teachers in New York City have been exposed to staff development of a sort since they started. They've been told to do this, told to do that. There has been nothing voluntary about it. And if we force them to come into the system to do this, then we would be part of the system instead of changing it.
But if I volunteer to be a mentor, and maybe there's some reason I should not be a mentor.
Do you mean to receive assistance?
Yes.
Okay.
No, to give it, to be.
Oh, to give assistance.
Give assistance.
Okay. We have a very rigorous process for selecting our own staff. It's actually a 4-stage process, and we're very proud of it. First, because it's unique. Unlike other teachers in the city of New York who are selected off a list because they've taken an exam and they're simply promulgated on a piece of paper, the first thing we do is we ask teachers to role play with us so that we can see the extent to which they can form a relationship and build trust, which is critical to their helping their colleagues. Second, we want to see the extent to which they can write, because we feel that thinking through the process of helping another teacher, particularly in the classroom, requires their being able to write it down on paper ahead of time. They then come before the entire panel that governs the peer intervention program, which is made up of appointees of the United Federation of Teachers and the New York City Board of Education, and ultimately, then they are selected. The voluntary nature of the people requesting assistance, those people volunteer, and we're far less stringent with regard to their needs. But in terms of those providing assistance, it's very rigorous.
Ellen?
I have 2 questions. One is whether you could use any of the lessons from this to change either pre-service training or the way teachers are evaluated. And the second is whether you're in next year's budget.
Great question.
Yes, we are in next year's budget. Otherwise, we would have left smart. But by tomorrow, we may not.
Well, right.
How would you respond to,
I'm sorry, just 1 minute. The second question.
The other question was about whether you could use this to change the system of either pre-service training or teacher evaluation.
We surely could use it. One of the indirect outcomes of this program, much to our amazement, has been we have had an enormous influence on the extent to which supervisors supervise. I suspect we could have the same kind of influence on in-service deliverers and professors, if you will, at teacher preparation institutions. We meet teachers every day who have never had, for example, a conference with their administrator prior to their being evaluated. We've met teachers who have never sat down with an administrator after they've been observed to debrief on their own performance. So the implications with respect to both the pre-service community as well as the supervisory community are significant. In fact, the supervisors have replicated the program in New York City and have created an identical model, despite the fact that they have fewer participants because there are fewer supervisors who are willing to acknowledge that they're not doing as well as they might, but they have replicated the program in its entirety.
Hubert, how would you respond to someone that would be hesitant in terms of rating this high because they would argue that it's not output oriented, that it's not predicated on the fundamental problem that's wrong with our school system, and that is it's got to educate children. What we do with the program is we make certain that teachers meet process-related requirements. So they're very good at their evaluations, but that doesn't relate to teacher accountability with respect to the quality of the education